Welcome to Hotel Hero. Today we're going to be replacing the card reader and the clutch on this Onity HT24 lock. The price point of just buying a whole replacement is probably even better, but sometimes you're in a pinch and you can take an old lock that has a bad component and then you have something in inventory you can swap out. This is the parts I got from Electronic Locksmith. Just as a disclaimer, I don't receive any compensation for promoting him here, but they usually, at least I live in Florida, so I get the parts within a few days. And this is the card reader replacement. So the first thing you want to do is, obviously you've already cleaned the head and it's still acting up. So one of two things: either the card reader's bad. I have found that sometimes it's actually the board at that point. But if you need to replace the board, forget about it. Just get a new lock or rebuilt lock. So what I do first is I got my little Craftsman with a T10. I just want to break them loose. And I'm going to do this in two videos because it takes me about 20 minutes to replace both the clutch and the card reader. Here's my drill with another T10, so you have two T10s. The other thing I recommend is, if you've never done one before, each process, take a picture with your phone so you know how to reassemble it. And take your time because you don't want to miss a part. Okay, so I'll pull the back off. So this is the shaft with the clutch assembly, but we're working on this part here. This is part of the reader ribbon that actually connects to the unit itself. So because I'm doing the reader head, I only have to remove 4 screws. Inside this cover plate over the shaft, you'll see that there's an opening with 2 Torx bits. Just loosen those. And then you have the 2 remaining screws for the front cover. Put these off to the side. Sometimes these screws, because it goes through the whole clutch assembly, it'll snag a little bit. Let's see if we pull it out. Sometimes they'll fall out on their own. All right, so lift it up and just slide downward over the shaft. There you go. First thing I'm gonna do is wipe this down for the dust bunnies. Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rotate this. One, because I'm right-handed, it makes it a little bit easier grabbing this clip here that holds this contact ribbon in place. So look, I have a little sanding block, and what I'll do is, you'll see on the ends there's 2 little part of the clip, and you pull away, holding the rest of the thing down so you don't bend the contacts. The whole thing came out. That's fine. And make sure you put it back the way it went in, because it actually does feed it a certain way. Okay, so it's disconnected. Just leave it like that. I'm gonna flip it back around. Okay, and there's 4 screws that hold the reader head in. One of the common things that happens sometimes, you'll get like an error message, like there's a deadbolt thrown. It's because this wire has broken off from the reader. It's a really small piece of solder, and they frequently just break off, and then you get error messages. And then there's a screw that goes through this guide and into the base. And you have to make sure that that is set properly, because sometimes the screw will inhibit the card from going in. All right. And when I'm removing it, I'll use the drill. When I put it back in, I'm going to be careful not to strip while putting the screws back in. So he's off. These are different screws that I'll just put in the center here. Sometimes these guys will stick in here, so just push them through. Those actually came out quite easy. So you got 4 screws there. It's the old reader. And since it's busted, a lot of times something will hit it, and there's 4 tabs here that one of them snaps, and then it'll start moving so it can't read the card properly. Let's take this off. And if you work in maintenance, you know that they're actually discontinuing these. They're actually discontinued, so a lot of hotels are having to upgrade for the tap system, which I'm actually happy, because this is the Achilles heel. For those who are old enough, this is basically a cassette deck head, and it sits on a float like a leaf spring suspension. I mean, I don't know why they made it that way, but anyways, it's very delicate, and in a hotel situation, they constantly fail, and especially outdoors, you get rust buildup or oxidation with rust. So I'm constantly cleaning the exterior locks all the time. So hopefully when we get a new system with the RFID tap, this will eliminate a lot of these problems. But I'm not there yet, so got to replace it. Okay. New reader head. So what I like to do, I actually like to plug it in first before I try to mount it. So there's the reader, it's facing on the outside of the lock, right? So the those gold contacts face down towards the motherboard. So you slide it in straight back. If it goes straight, looks like it did. And then clip it shut, and she's locked. So now I can flip them back over. You start with the ground wire. Like I said, I pretty much hand tighten these. Thing is, when you start to tighten this ground wire, it's going to want to slip over the plastic because it's going to rotate. Just make sure that, actually it did. It actually was sitting on top, that it actually sits in the guide. We'll do this one that goes through the reader. Can't believe how flimsy these are. Plain obsolescence. Just make them snug. You don't want to over tighten because you could break the plastic base and you need to start over again. All right, snug. So the reader's been mounted, got it plugged in. There's cover plate. So basically you drop this in, kind of tilt it a little bit, and she should slide into place. And make sure that it's flush here. Go with that now. Get these screws started. Oh, that screw never fell out. Okay, that's fine. And the outer holes here. And if you're using a drill, just put it on the kind of the lowest setting. That way I've made it where I bent my Torx because it actually stopped and then just twisted off the Torx bit. So recess it. Ooh, a little too much. And these screws, just back off a little bit on these, and I'll explain later when you have the clutch. You want a little bit of play on the clutch. If you make it too tight, then they start sticking and things like that. Put the plate back on, and then your remaining 6 screws, and you're done. You just replace the reader. So you saved your company a little bit of money, and I hope you found this video helpful, and God bless you.